So the next topic is risk management. So before we start, let us try to understand what do you mean by risk? Risk means uncertainty. There could be n number of problems may come in your software project development phase. A risk is a potential problem and it may occur or it may not occur. If you are 100% sure that this is the problem that is going to occur, this problem is this is the problem that will for sure it will happen, it is not a risk, because you know that this problem will be there and you are 100% sure, you are not uncertain, you are 100% sure that this problem will be there. You are well prepared of that problem, you are well prepared with the solution to deal with that kind of problem. You can schedule your project accordingly, you can manipulate, you can change your plan, you can design your strategy to deal with that kind of a problem that you are 100% sure that will happen. It is not a risk. Risk means uncertainty. It may happen, it may not happen. But if it happens, you have to deal it very carefully, very meticulously, very intelligently. Otherwise, you may incur a huge loss. A risk is a potential problem. It may happen, it may not happen. But regardless of whatever you think that it will happen or it will not happen, it is always a good practice to think, to anticipate in advance what could be the potential problems, what could be the potential risks, and if at all they appear during the development stage, then what would be our probable course of action to deal with these uncertainties so that we will not incur a huge loss or our project schedule would not get deviated. Now there are two types of strategies to deal with this risk management. One is reactive strategy and other one is proactive strategy. Now the main concept behind this reactive strategy is we will not worry about the probable risk, probable conditions which may result into a risk until it actually occurs. The main concept behind the reactive strategy is we don't want to think in advance what would be the probable risk, what would be the probable conditions that would lead to a risky situations. We will deal with these scenarios, we will deal with the risks when it will actually happen, when it will actually occur during our work, during our development life cycle. And proactive strategy means thinking in terms of risks, thinking in advance what could be the probable or the potential risks that may happen, what would be their impact. If this particular risk, if this particular problem, if it will come in future, then what would be its potential, what could be the potential cause, what could be the potential impact. So depending upon the type of problem, depending upon the impact, if it is very severe, if it is medium, if it is low risk scenario, we would be in a position, we are well prepared in advance. We will think of possible solutions, we will think of possible course of actions that we will take in future if this kind of risk happens. So reactive, don't think in advance. It will react once the risk happens, once the risk is reality. Reactive takes action, reaction, once the risk is reality, once the risk is there, risk has happened. Proactive takes the precautionary steps before, in the project planning stage itself. The potential causes, their root causes, their what you can say, the impact, their remedies, discussed, chalked down, planned out, and we are ready for the handling. So this is something about reactive strategy and proactive strategy. Now, software risks. What is the definition of software risk? So there are various debates in the developer fraternity to define the software risk. There are various definitions related to software risks, and all those definitions discusses about the two things, that the conditions which are uncertain, and if these conditions happen, if these conditions become a reality, then definitely loss will be there. If this is the situation, then you can, if these are the two factors that are associated with certain condition, then you can say that it is very risky. If the situation is uncertain means it may happen, it may not happen. If you are very much 100% sure, then it is not a risk. Uncertainty, it may or it may not. And definitely if this happens, you will incur a loss. Loss in terms of money, loss in terms of time, loss in terms of prestige. Loss can be anything. Loss is not always associated with the loss of money. When the risks are analyzed, it is important to quantify the level of uncertainty. Quantify the level of uncertainty and degree of loss associated with each risk. Quantify the level of uncertainty. 10% risk है, 20% है, 50% है, 60% है. Chances of occurring, chances of that uncertainty. You need to quantify. And the degree of loss associated with it. Degree of loss. If it is the loss in terms of money, then you have to estimate कि 1 lakh का loss, 2 lakh का loss, 5 lakh का loss. If it is in terms of time, if this particular risk becomes reality, then our project may be delayed by 4 days, by 1 month, by 1 year. So you need to identify the level of uncertainty. You need to estimate the degree of loss associated with each risk. Because if you know the level of uncertainty, if you can estimate the degree of loss associated with it, then only you will be able to take corrective measures. Then you will be able to plan it accordingly. Because if you know the uncertainty level, if you know the degree of loss, you can classify the risks into various baskets. Say हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी रिस्क, सबसे पहले इनको फोकस करना है, देन मीडियम प्रोबेबिलिटी रिस्क, लो प्रोबेबिलिटी रिस्क. अगर हम ये लेवल ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी या डिग्री ऑफ लॉस एसोसिएटेड हम नहीं देखेंगे, देन वी वुड एंड अप इन फोकसिंग मोर ऑन अ लो प्रायोरिटी रिस्क, वेयर एज हाई प्रायोरिटी रिस्क, आई मीन we may high priority risk may escape from our consideration. So what is risk? The conditions in future with uncertainty may happen, may not happen, but if it happens, then loss is there. And we need to identify if the condition is risky condition, then how much it is risky and how much loss we may occur if we may have to take. I mean, this is the risk, software risk. Now, risk can be of risk is classified into various categories. Now, the first category is, say, project risk associated with the project. If this kind of a risk becomes reality, then your entire project planning gets disturbed. Your project schedule, your deadlines, you will not be in a position to meet your deadline related goals. And definitely if you extend your deadlines, then definitely more cost you have to more money you have to spend on that additional amount of time that you are working on that project. So project risk identify potential budget related costs, potential budget related problem, schedule, various personnel, staffing resources related to the customer, requirements problem, and other impact on software project. All these factors can have impact on your project risk. Technical risk. Technical risk, basically it is related with the quality and timeliness of the software to be produced. If this technical risks, if the factors which are considered in this technical risk category, if they become reality, then overall quality of the software is not satisfying. Overall quality of the software gets degraded. And timeliness of the software to be produced. Again, the timeline, the schedule, the target, whenever you have promised to deliver that particular software, that software delivery may get delayed. If this risk become reality, then implementation may become difficult or impossible. Implementation may become difficult or it becomes impossible. So technical risk related factors includes the design issues, implementation problem, interface incorrect hai, verification, maintenance problem, all these things, all these factors which are subpart, which are considered under this categories. If they become reality, then you can say that it is a kind of technical risk. Business risk. Business risk. Now, business risk can be of any type. Business risk can be of, say, 5 types. Business risk can be of 5 types. Now, you build excellent product and a system that no one really wants because you have over-focused on feasibility. You have over-focused on feasibility. You have given less consideration of the scope, the customer requirement, or you might have delayed the project. There are certain projects which are very time critical. So you need to abide by the timings, you need to abide by the deadlines for the delivery. If you miss that particular deadline, then even if you are ready to give your product for free of cost, nobody wants to use it because the time when it was required, the software was not ready, and now that it is not ready, even if you are ready to give it for free, nobody wants it. It is known as market risk. It is one of the subtype of your business risk. Building a product that no longer fits into overall business strategy for a company. When you have been asked for it, it is as per the strategy, as per the business goal, as per the planning, growth planning of the company. But now, due to some reason, you might have delayed it. You might, because the company policy have changed. So strategic risk. Building a product that Salesforce doesn't understand how to sell. You have developed a good product. The softwares can be of 2 types. One is the software which you will develop because of certain requirement from somebody. किसी ने आपसे कहा है ये बना के दो, तो आप बनाओगे. और दूसरा, you have an idea, you have a team, you have a resources, you will develop a product, you will develop a software product, and then you will try to sell that product to multiple customers. Your sales team will try to acquire customers. They will demonstrate the capability of your product. They will convince the companies to purchase your software, and eventually you will earn money. You will grow. So if you have developed something but your sales team do not understand how to sell it, it is a business risk, because you have invested lots of money, human resources, paid their salaries and time and working. The product is ready, but you are not able to sell it. So it's a wastage of time and money. Business risk. Losing the support of senior management due to change in focus or change in the management. Some management team is there. They have started with an initiative. They have created a team. They have invested, allocated a fund. But out of scenarios, like the management have changed, so the new people who have joined, they don't think that this particular project is of good importance or is very important for the growth of company. So their focus, they may not focus. They may not be available for this particular project. They may not allocate sufficient funds for the completion of this project. Management risk. Losing budgetary or personal commitment. Losing budgetary or personal commitments. So budgetary commitment means exceeding the budget. You have anticipated that these many resources are needed for the successful completion of this project. But as you have started working, your requirement for the resources have increased, and the budget that you have allocated for some other activity, you might have spent in this hardware purchase or software purchase, or you might have spent money in recruitment or hiring. So budget risk. So all these kind of risks which may happen, due to which your business suffers. Due to all these kinds of risk, your business suffers. This is classified as business risks. Now, risk can also be classified into three general category. One is known risks. Predictable risk, and unpredictable risk. Now, known risk have a characteristic that it can be uncovered after careful evaluation of the project plan, business and technical environment in which the project is being developed. I mean, if you carefully evaluate, if you carefully go through the project plan, your business environment, business model, your technical environment, software development environment, these risks can be easily identified, are known as known risks. For example, if you have promised a delivery date, so after carefully going through the project plan and having detailed analysis and discussion, and with your business and technical environment, you can be sure that unrealistic delivery date we have committed to the client. Unrealistic delivery date. We would have asked for 1 year of time, but we have committed that we will deliver this in 3 months of time. So it is somewhat very unrealistic. 1 साल का काम आप 3 महीने में नहीं कर सकते. It is unrealistic. Lack of documented requirements or software scope. Lack of documented requirements. Documents are less. Requirements are not well documented. Software scope is not given proper due consideration. Poor development environment. Poor development environment includes many factors. So all these kinds of risks that you can identify, that you can get aware of after going through detailed plan, project plan, business, technical environment, are known as known risks. Predictable risks. Predictable risk requires past project experience. Past project experience. So staff turnover. Staff turnover means definitely if you have worked on some prior project. So staff turnover, leaving staff in between. Leaving the staff from your project, leaving the staff from your company in between while your project is going on, staff turnover. Poor communication with the customer. Customer के साथ communication is very important factor for the successful for the success of any project, because customer initiates the project, customer provides you the requirement, customer rectifies it, corrects it, customer wants, because eventually whatever you build, it has to be accepted by the customer. It should fulfill the expectations of the customer. Unpredictable risks. Unpredictable risks, the name indicates that cannot be predicted with prior experience or carefully going through the detailed plan or requirement or anything. If it is there, it will happen. If it is, they can happen. And if they are happen, it is very extremely difficult to identify them in advance.